Good morning. Again, welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Steve Van Meter, your senior minister. And let's get right into today's message. Well, the September theme is Facing the Fear. How apropos. And today's title is Skepticism, Doubt, and Fear. So a healthy dose of skepticism is a great tool in developing an understanding of what we believe and know and why. When we think we know it all or are not willing to question what we believe or are not willing to ask what it means when someone feels like their prayers have not been answered, suddenly we are no longer in alignment with open at the top thinking. Our belief slams shut like a garage sale folding chair, where if we slam shut our ability to know something new, we're going to experience what we have always had. So a good dose of skepticism is healthy. It's just that when too much skepticism keeps us from allowing a new belief to come in, it can be challenging. So let's engage in the process of inquiry on as many levels as is possible and see how far down the rabbit hole we can adventure together without getting lost in the very rabbit hole itself. How do we keep our faith during times such as these? When the skies are dark with smoke, fires rage, and displace us from our homes, possibly. And at the same time, we're dealing with this interesting thing called a pandemic. Interesting times. One of the most challenging curses is, may you be born in interesting times. Or you can see it as an opportunity to increase your faith. We are almost being forced to examine our faith at this time. Truly, I think every one of us had said, why is this happening? What is really going on here? But these are the exact times that Dr. Ernest Holmes created religious science for. These are the times that actually got us into this teaching, isn't it? I don't know about you, but most of us come into this teaching either from inspiration or desperation. And I can tell you that I was the latter. I was inspired at first to check stuff out, but it was through desperation that made me truly start to change my belief system. My BS belief system, as it were. So Holmes writes in The Science of Mind on page 586, there is no room for doubt in a treatment. Realize that you treat with your understanding through law. Again, there is no room for doubt in a treatment. Realize that you treat with your understanding through law. We need to meditate on the spiritual significance of the statement until we can consciously ingest all that it means. We need a definite concept of an already established fact, even though the fact may not have become objectified. Faith is built up from belief, from our acceptance, and from our trust. Whenever skepticism enters our thoughts, it at times can override our faith. We just have to be aware of that. This is sometimes where a argumentative treatment might come in. When we can state what is before us as a fact and then look to the spiritual truth that underlies everything. Skepticism is healthy when it confirms or proves our faith through the process of elimination. When you follow the thread all the way back, truth is the anchor behind everything. Since every thought that we think is a prayer, we have to be careful to monitor our thoughts so that our faith is not compromised. We must continually feed our faith with supporting input. And I'll tell you that if you're watching the news or, even looking outside, it can challenge us. We see the smoke. We see people wearing masks. We feel alone at times. But we need to remember that we truly are all one. And if you look deep within what you're looking at, you will find the spiritual energy behind it. Can we face our fears with faith and know in our heart of hearts that God has our best interests in mind while still walking through some of our biggest challenges this human race has ever faced? And I say absolutely. This is exactly the time we as thinkers were created for. So I have a message for the light workers. And I would invite you all to know that if you are on this or watching this or hearing this, you are one of the light workers. And I have a message for you, light worker. It is now the time to turn your magic all the way on. Okay? Now is the time to turn your magic all the way into the high position. We're going to go past 10 and we're going to go to 11. I think you know what I'm talking about. As Will Rogers once said, even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. We must keep moving in consciousness or get the heck out of the way so that those that are behind us can move forward. See, demonstrations, answered prayer builds and proves our faith. If we took a snapshot and said, this is how it's always going to be, we'd be missing the big picture. Because this too shall pass. We shall walk through this. Every time you have a successful manifestation of an affirmative prayer, you add to your success journal. This will continually feed your faith muscle. Your faith muscle. And right now, we are in the workout room of faith. So faith is always made stronger by our aha moments. You know, we have this thing called a quantum leap in faith when all of a sudden something that we have not understood becomes understood at a deep level within our being. I can remember when I was starting to study this science. I was on a friend of mine's boat at Marina del Rey in the harbor there, and he was off at work, and I was just kicking back on his boat, and I was reading my Science of Mind textbook. And I was reading something that all of a sudden I put one and one together, and it became one in my mind. And all of a sudden, I got this tingling sensation, and an aha moment happened for me. And I'm sure all of you have had something like this happen, where all of a sudden, all the truth of the world became realized to you. I put the book down, and I stepped out onto the deck of his boat, and I looked around, and everything looked different. The seagulls had an aura around them. Everything seemed to glow with energy. All of a sudden, I could, for a split second, see the connection between all life. Something in my heart said, it's all going to be okay. It's all going to work out. That, my friend, is the aha moment that we live for. There's the story of a little boy. He was on the roof of his house and he started sliding down the edge. So he yelled, "God, please save me." And at the last second, a nail head caught on his pants and he abruptly stopped from falling off the roof. And then the little boy told God, "Never mind, I'm okay now." Just like luck, we make our own luck and we make our own faith. Ernest Holmes said, "When prayer removes distrust and doubt and enters the field of mental certainty, it becomes faith." Again, when prayer removes distrust and doubt and enters the field of mental certainty, it becomes faith. We need to enter the field of mental certainty. Will Rogers said in Faith Leads to Success, if you want to be successful, it's just this simple. Know what you are doing, love what you are doing, and believe in what you are doing. Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream of faith, that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." It's interesting to think that we're still working on realizing that dream. But we will continue to pray until the demonstration is made. I think that we are in the midst of these demonstrations right here and right now. That's my belief. But yeah, it's going to take some work. We need to roll up our sleeves and look at what we believe in and why. So in conclusion, the principle governing faith is that when the one praying becomes convinced their prayer will automatically be answered, or as Jesus said, it is done unto you as you believe. Build your faith until it becomes a knowing. Here's an affirmation by Dr. Holmes. I live in the faith that there is a power and a presence greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways I could not even imagine. So I'd like to leave you on this day with something by Howard Thurman called The Moments of My High Resolve. It's one of my favorites. And I think this is a perfect time to recite this. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. Despite the dullness and the barrenness of the days that pass, if I search with due diligence, I can always find a deposit left by some former radiance. But I had forgotten. At the time, it was fully orbed, glorious and resplendent. I was sure that I would never forget. In the moment of its fullness, I was sure that it would illumine my path for all the rest of my journey. But I had forgotten how easy it is to forget. There was no intent to betray what seemed sure at the time. My response was whole, clean, and authentic. But little by little, there crept into my life the dust and the grit of the journey. Details, lower level demands, all kinds of cross currents, nothing monumentous, nothing overwhelming, nothing flagrant, just wear and tear. If there had been some direct challenge, a clear-cut issue, I would have fought it to the end and beyond. In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of God, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or in foul, in good times or in tempests, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. That's For the Inward Journey by Howard Thurman. And so it is. Well, it's time for our prayer. This is a prayer for faith. This is a prayer for our first responders and our frontline workers. And let us keep rain in mind and a resolution to any and all challenging situations that may be before you. Let's imagine the morning being nice and moist and dewy from a light rain. Get that feeling in our consciousness of seeing the ground moist from a good rain shower. Let's bring ourselves to center now and remember who we are. I know that there is a power that is always on, that creates worlds, and that power and each one of us is in direct alignment. We are truly unified as the power in form. Each one of us having within us the ability to know, to demonstrate, and to love. I speak my word for all of those people that may be walking through a challenge, who may have been displaced or lost their homes or a loved one. We know that the energy of love is in the center of all that is. We don't turn away to deny anything. We turn into the love. We turn into the peace and the resolution. We seek the answers, and the answers are seeking us. I know that something powerful is happening right now. There is a lot of emotion. There is a lot of energy in motion. And I know that truly love is what heals and reveals everything that needs to be known is known. Every connection that is needed to be made for the perfect healing is made. I may not know what you are walking through, but I know that the infinite does. And as we connect with that infinite, divine, spiritual energy that created everything that is, we become part of the solution. We become part of love as we respond with love in all situations. That love becomes us, enlivens us, and inspires, inspirits us. So I bless this day with healing, with that gentle rain, with that divine connection, knowing that something powerful knows what it's doing, and does it by means of each one of us in every situation. So I give great thanks in this moment. I give great thanks for the ability to think differently, to have faith in the power that created us, knowing that it knows what it is doing, and we call in the healing. We call in the revealing. We call in the spiritual connection. Yes, light workers, it is time to turn your magic all the way on. Can you feel the tingle and the sensation of that connection? And know in your heart of hearts that love truly is at the root of every situation. So we give great thanks for the miraculous energy of the healing of every situation, knowing that something wonderful is happening no matter what the appearance. Again, I don't deny it, but I don't feed it. I feed the healing. I feed the love. I feed the rain. And we are blessed. So I release this word directly into that living, loving law of God, of great spirit, of Christ consciousness, where I know something absolutely powerful is happening right here and right now by means of each one of us. We let go and we let God be God in this situation, for it is already done, as we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you for being here this morning. It's time for our offertory. So if you want to find your donate button or get your checkbook out or however you give, that's your business. But let's affirm our offertory prayer together, which says, I live in faith that I am always abundantly prospered as I share my good with all. Again, I live in faith that I am always abundantly prospered as I share my good with all. Let's pray quickly for our offertory this morning. So hold your offering in your consciousness right here and right now. Thank you, divine infinite spirit, for these gifts, these tithes that have been collected. They are evidence of our faith, our belief, and our ability to manifest in this world of form. They do good work in the world and allow this center for spiritual living to be available to all that choose to remember who they are, and even those that don't. We are grateful for all the gifts, and then the gifts bless the giver and receiver and are used in this community in a way that expand the love of Grants Pass. And for this, we are all blessed as we affirm this together by saying, and so it is.